And hello, you absolute lovelies. Let's talk all about episode 6 of the final season of The Boys. We are thick into the third act of the end of the show, and I will fully admit I have loved how this season has zigged and zagged to the point where I don't know what's going to happen next, and we are now to the point where in the writing structure of anything could happen and that everything bad has happened. Our heroes are up against the wall, the worst thing has happened, and spoilers for episode 6, I did not expect Homelander. I don't know why they did it. They got me to the point of believing that it would end without this happening, but I did not expect Homelander to get the V1, and I love that the writing is such that it's a cat and mouse game right up until the very end, that without Soldier Boy hearing about Clara from someone that knew her then, about love, about the bond between Geisha and Bombsight, that without that conversation and that love and all these things, he wouldn't have given him this, because it's the love that he values more than his hatred. He loves Clara more than he hates his son, and that moment was such a genius beat, because that is something that Sister Sage couldn't have intellectualized, just like we in reality couldn't have intellectualized how it was going to go. We couldn't outpredict anything, because the nature of human interaction is the butterfly effect. One conversation can change the course of everything, and just like with Breaking Bad, writing yourself into a corner, you can't predict which way things are going to go. So this show is based on a comic, but loosely. So I've gotten to enjoy a take on these characters as per their own writing, and the writing into these characters is so good that their arc gets to feel justified by moment-to-moment interactions. Like with the Legend and Homelander, he had an actual human interaction with someone that wasn't afraid of him, that did have a bit of a appreciation for him. And I want to talk about the Legend here in a second, but I think each character's arc to this point as we get to the third act has been amazing, because that conversation with Kimiko and Frenchie, I thought exactly and perfectly exemplified what I've been struggling with Huey and Starlight, but in kind of inverse. I think the reason Huey has had a similar beat of like trying to get, everyone to save, he's just trying to see the good, he's trying to get Starlight to be okay, and that's kind of been his whole thing, and that's something I've mentioned in reviews a few times. I've wanted more for Huey, but I think it's because he's going to have the arc all happen in these last 2 episodes where he has to accept that Starlighter can't survive. I think these characters are gonna die, a lot of them. I see things going very badly, and I think it's really beautiful that Kimiko, who wants kids, who sees the importance of mortality, gets to convey that to Frenchie, who had to have his leadership beat, who had to grow. And then Mother's Milk, who has been corrupted by Butcher, that's its own thing about family. So each of these characters have had their own different journey that without each of the beats that led to this wouldn't have worked, because I love the relationship with Frenchie and Kimiko. I love the relationship with Starlight and Huey, but that's got to be 2 different sides of the coin that we're not quite there to yet. And I'm really curious how Mother's Milk either redeems himself or fully commits to the where Butcher is, and we're definitely touching on that and as things go. On the evolution side of the 7, obviously each of the 7 is kind of betraying everything they believe in before getting killed. So we had, Black Noir taken out this episode. He literally caused the death of 1.5 billion fish, but the moment that we really lost the deep was when he did what Firecracker did and was willing to betray anything to the god of Homelander, and he was willing to sacrifice what he believed in, and that is going to end up costing him. So we're down to very few 7. The Legend thing I want to talk about is the interesting use of immortality in this episode, because this whole thing is about V1 becoming immortal and using love as a beautiful reference point of, you'd never want to watch the person you love wither and die, like immortality be a curse, and like the vampire myth is all about that vanity, that hope, that belief in immortality not being the best thing. And I found it really interesting that the Legend came back in this episode, because he's always been an interesting character in the comics to me, because he represents like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and that legendary era of writer. And to use the character as someone that Homelander even respects has layers to it, because it's an episode about immortality, and writers and creators are immortal. They're gods to their creations. Like Homelander's writer, Garth Ennis, is the creator of him. And without Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, would never have gotten to the point of Garth Ennis. And so there's this interesting thing of, to me, a legend, an immortal is a writer or a creator. They last forever. And the Legend is kind of a commentary on some of the, less beautiful things about these legends. Like, not everyone's perfect. No one is. So the idea of the Legend being this foul-mouthed, outdated, referencing bigoted things like, the Golden Geisha and all these tone-deaf elements, like the racist Native American white guy. Like, that is where you end up on a long enough timeline. Like, stuff that we love today will be seen as outdated and probably racist and bigoted, and like as time evolves, people don't always evolve with it. So the legend in the comic was a bit of a commentary on outdated ideas and, saying some messy shit and like slurs and bigotry, while also, acknowledging the incredible things that these legends did in writing and creating. So I love that they had the legend be someone that knows these people at this retirement home for soups and is invested in that world, but he also got to represent a creator that even Homelander could have some reverence for as he's on his journey to be a god, all in an episode about immortality. So it had a lot of layers for me that I'm probably reading too much into, but Homelander seeing someone not be afraid of him is why he saved him in the narrative. Homelander having that moment with someone that to me represents the creators that brought us this age of comics adds a layer to me of reverence for a god in their own way of creators, all while these characters have to adjust to their immortality. How, we've got a character that just went from being immortal to be mortal, to die with someone he loves, because that's what life is about. You cannot appreciate summer if you don't know winter is coming. And every season we rush to the next season in our real lives. We're always rushing to the next thing. It's why I don't like binge models for TV. It's why I like talking about them week to week. We're always rushing to the next thing. It's hard to be present if we're always looking to the next. And if you were immortal, there would not be a next. There would just be an infinite array of time and waste. And so I really think this episode emotionally had some really solid writing. I think it said a lot. I think it's an incredible start to the third act. In the beginning, I thought it was a little rushed as the last episode had the cameos and had a lot going on and had the different POVs and had the terror stuff. And it felt like we were about to get into the third act, and this episode felt like we were already like sprinting through it with the escalation of, planting the poison and having the V1. But by the end, I see kind of how this final act's going to go. But again, I don't know how it's going to go beat for beat. Like, I don't know if Homelander's going to win. I don't know if Butcher's going to win. I don't know which of the boys die. I don't know who from the seven survive, because like Sister Sage, I don't think we can intellectualize it. I think it's going to be moment to moment in episode what decisions the characters make, and that's going to cause the next decision and the next decision, which is so much more like real life and so much more fun. And we get to be like edge of our seat again, like with Breaking Bad, writing things into corners. So really impressed with the writing, really impressed with the commentary on immortality, power, legacy, being a legend, what it is to be human, all the things the show has been doing really well. Really punched up in this episode by adding the mortality elements and all those questions, which obviously ties into the big theological things it's been saying this whole season, and gods and superheroes in general. So really fun commentary and culture in a different way. Really powerful imagery with, obviously we got a little Cyclops no moment, but also the father-son beats and the legacy we leave behind that everyone does kind of pass into the next thing. And even us now, like people that started YouTube are doing other stuff, and TikTok will fade, and actors that are, those are the small, but on the big, actors that won, best actor, people forget their names. Presidents, I don't know every president's name. There's no person that doesn't get replaced, and there's no job that is more important than your life, and there's no thing that lasts forever, because everything fades. And this episode really hit me. So go live some life. Go enjoy your mortality by appreciating the upcoming fall and winter, and live your summer. And it is summer now. So I appreciate you guys. Live your best. And what an episode of The Boys. What a kickoff to the third and final arc in the show ever. And I don't know where it's going, and I love that. Would love to know in the comments what you guys think is going to happen next. Would love to know what you thought of this episode. I appreciate you. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. I got to go. Bye.